into the Philippine jungle in civilian clothes and finds Hiroo Onoda standing at attention. He reads the order aloud. All combat activity is to cease immediately. The 14th Area Army has ceased all combat activity. You are to lay down your arms. Onoda stands in silence for a long moment. Then he removes the ammunition from his rifle. He places it on the ground. He has followed his orders for 29 years, 4 months, and several days. He follows this one too. When Hiroo Onoda emerges from the jungle, the Philippines is a different country to the one he entered. Japan is a different country. The world is a different world. Men have walked on the moon. Television exists. The cities he knew as a young soldier are unrecognizable. He is 52 years old and he has never watched television. He is 52 years old and the last 29 years of his life have been a war that existed only in his own jungle, in his own orders, in his own unbreakable mind. The Philippine government initially wants to prosecute him for the raids and killings that occurred during his time in the jungle. President Ferdinand Marcos ultimately issues a pardon, recognizing that Onoda had acted in complete good faith, as a soldier following the only orders he had ever received. Japan receives him as a hero. He does not feel like one. In interviews in the years that followed, Onoda is not triumphant. He is not proud in the way a man who has won something is proud. He speaks with the quiet, complicated grief of a man who gave everything he had to a cause, and then discovered, too late, that the cause had ended while he was still giving. He says he felt sorry for all the men who died fighting alongside him, and for the Philippine soldiers and civilians who were killed in skirmishes they could not have known were senseless. He says the hardest part was not the hunger, or the loneliness, or the years. The hardest part was the moment he put down the rifle. Hiroo Onoda died in January 2014, aged 91. He spent the later decades of his life running a nature school for children in Brazil and Japan, teaching young people survival skills and self-reliance. The man who had survived 3 decades in the jungle turned out to have something worth passing on. Not the war, but the discipline, the patience, the refusal to give up. He gave those things freely. He had, after all, spent a lifetime perfecting them. There is something in this story that goes beyond the extraordinary facts of it, beyond the jungle, the rifle, the 29 years. It is this. Hiroo Onoda was not wrong about who he was. He was a soldier of exceptional discipline, loyalty, and courage. Every quality he brought to that jungle. Every morning he rose before dawn, every patrol he ran through the dark, every year he held his position when the easier thing would have been to walk out. Those qualities were real. He was simply serving the wrong information, not the wrong values, not the wrong character, the wrong information. And that is perhaps the most quietly devastating lesson of his life. It is possible to do everything right, to be faithful, to be disciplined, to persevere through suffering that would break most people, and still spend 29 years fighting a war that ended before you started. The Proverbs say it plainly. Chapter 14, verse 12. And quote, "There is a way that appears to be right, but in the end it leads to death." And quote, not moral failure, not weakness, just a path that looked correct, followed faithfully, that led somewhere no one intended to go. Check your orders. Not once. Regularly. Because loyalty to the wrong mission, however total, however admirable in its discipline, is still loyalty to the wrong mission. Hiroo Onoda deserved better orders. So do you. If this story made you think, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for a new true life story every week. Stories of ordinary people who faced impossible circumstances, and what those circumstances reveal about what it means to be human. We will see you in the next one.